M.L.Ruscsak. I'm here with a special guest today. Teens, college students, this one, really listen to this one, please. Jean O'Toole, welcome to my show.
Thanks so much, ML. I'm really excited to be here.
Now, you're an author, but you specialize in scholarships.
That's right. I'm actually an expert in what are called outside scholarships, ML, and those are actually scholarships from companies, organizations, individuals, foundations. Frankly, monies that if a student wins, they can stack them on top of any monies that maybe a college or university is offering them.
Okay. Now, I have a teenage daughter myself that's looking at college, not next year, but year after. What is a stackable scholarship? I remember some of this from high school, but not everything.
Sure. And I'm so glad to know that your daughter can really get moving right now, actually, with her scholarship search. First of all, there's this misconception that you have to be a high school senior to start winning the money. So your daughter can actually start winning money now. And when we talk about stackable scholarships, we are talking about outside scholarships from private sources. So the scholarship, let's say from the VFW or from Burger King or from Google. These are scholarships that can be stacked on top of opportunities that your daughter hopefully will, receive, from her college or her university that she heads to. And what's amazing about this stuff, ML, is that, it doesn't stop even when she graduates and she's, starting that first year in college. Any year that you are walking in the role of a student. So right now as a student, but until she wraps up her days as a student. So however many degrees that she is going to be, pursuing every day that she's in college, she can continue to pursue outside private scholarship dollars. And of course use those not just to reduce her tuition bill, but, for her other educational expenses.
Right. She was lucky enough when she was in ninth grade. She got a scholarship for autism and for National Honor Society.
I love that she is already pursuing scholarships. And, I actually just came across a scholarship. You mentioned autism. I just came across a scholarship this week that I was I'm researching scholarships constantly, and I came across a scholarship actually just a couple of days ago that I posted on our Facebook page, which is Scholarship Strategies. Tons and tons of scholarships I get posted there all the time, but this one scholarship, and this might be of interest to you and definitely some of your listeners. It's a scholarship called Autism Can Do Scholarship, and it's from a partnership of a foundation called the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation, and then a private company called John's Crazy Socks. And ML, check this out. I mean, this is such a great example that there's all types of scholarships and all types of applications for this particular scholarship, the Can Do Scholarship. Your daughter or anyone who is pursuing it, all they would have to do is actually design a pair of socks. So it's a creativity exercise, actually, and I believe you can get up to $5,000.
Awesome. She loves the designing stuff, so that would work really well for her.
Yeah. There's so many scholarships for everybody. So I love that she has actually, she's already started, that she already understands, as a student that, Money Mission was started already when she was in ninth grade. But she can keep stacking the dollars and keep acquiring, monies all the way, up until she graduates from high school and then beyond.
Right. And this is wonderful because a lot of people think, oh, you only have certain scholarships you qualify for. There's thousands of scholarships out there.
There really are. And, one of the biggest reasons why people miss out on money, ML, is that, and this is just a natural, reaction to, looking for scholarships. But what happens is that students and families, right, naturally, everyone focuses on what is current for that student in their life. So, for example, when I talk with students, I'm like, oh, what scholarships have you applied to, and what scholarships are you looking at? And a lot of times, families and students will say, you know what? Well, I'm looking at scholarships related to, what I want to do in my life, right? Like their future major, their future career, what they've done in and out of the classroom. Any type of community service, leadership, and these all are, of course, major categories. But your daughter and every student out there, ML, is so much more than that. Mm-hmm. So much more than that. And if we take off what I call the scholarship blinders, you actually can expand so many more categories of monies that a student could potentially apply for and win. So, like, for example, I don't know if you guys have, I don't know if your family has any pets at home, but if so, guess what? Your daughter could apply for scholarships for caring for animals. I don't know if you recycle at home, but if you do, that means that your daughter could apply for scholarships for helping the environment. There's so many, if she plays video games, there's scholarships for playing video games. I mean, literally there's scholarships for everything. And so we want to just kind of take those blinders off and do this more of a big, holistic, big brainstorming. I encourage you guys to do it as a family. So that way she can really tackle and take advantage of all the scholarships that she could really dive into.
Exactly. And that's the thing. When I was in school, I was given my senior year a pack. It had to be at least 300 pages of scholarships. This is 20 years ago. Now that pack's probably on the digital stuff, but at the same time, there's scholarships on top of scholarships. You just have to figure out what you want, and then you have to write a great pitch. It's not just filling out a form.
It's not just filling out a form, but and there are still, usually most high schools in America still today will have maybe their packet of local scholarships if there's any local scholarships that are given away. Unfortunately, there's not a central location. There's not one website. There's not one pack, like you said, of scholarships. There's not one central location, and that's why I'm doing the work that I do. I've been doing this work with students now for over 15 years, and I've had about 150,000 students attend my programs across the country. I co-founded a company called Connections 101 in 2008, and in 2008, which is our organization is in New York City, we have been doing assemblies and seminars and helping students actually, become empowered, about this process. So that way it's not just, waiting and hoping that I will get some information from a guidance counselor, but really becoming empowered about not just how to find these scholarships, but also how to quickly identify which ones you have the best chances of winning. And like you mentioned, there are some really strategic ways that you can help yourself stand out from other applicants. A lot of times people are just not applying for monies because they think that, I'm not going to win. There's no possible way that I'm going to win. And if you're actually working smarter and not harder on this process, you can really, really put yourself to the top of the pile.
Exactly. It's all a matter of standing out. And
you
can
go ahead.
really shine with some of these scholarships. Really get in touch with who you are to fill these scholarships out. You really can shine.
You absolutely can shine. In fact, one strategy that I actually recommend, and my book is full of I have 25 strategies in my book, and then we also include a chapter of 15 ways that you can cut the college bill beyond scholarships and financial aid. But one major strategy with regards to standing out is I show students, and I want to help all of your listeners right now to craft what I call a why you statement. And a lot of times I'll be working with a big group of students, and students will assume right away, and they'll ask me, hey Jean, the why you statement, is that where I write about some obstacle I've overcome and how it's made me who I am today? And right off the bat, I want to make sure this is super clear to all of your listeners. Nope. Nope. Save that. That's good stuff. But that is for, the personal statement that, a student is going to put together for applying for college. The why you statement never has anything to do with the past. It always has everything to do with the future. So a why you statement, for example, ML, is really, and this would be for your daughter and any of her friends out there, and of course any of your listeners and their sons or daughters. It should be a 2 or 3 sentence statement about how they are planning on having impact when all their education is done. Like after they have finished all their degrees, how are they planning on impacting their life, somebody else's life, or impacting the world? And I'll give you an example on this. There was a young lady who attended one of my high school assemblies, and she was going to be majoring in education at her college. And she won a boatload of money. She used the strategy. She did really, really well. And I had an opportunity to sit down with her in between her high school and her undergraduate years. And I asked her, I was like, what was your why you statement? And her statement is such a great example about not just how you stand out from the crowd, but really demonstrating that impact. And here's what her statement was. She wrote, if your organization grants me this scholarship, I'd like you to know my goal is to go beyond becoming a teacher. My goal is to perhaps become a principal, maybe even a superintendent, therefore have the opportunity to impact and inspire not just hundreds of students, but potentially thousands. ML, check that out. That's like the mic drop moment for that girl. And that is what a why you statement can do. Yeah.
That is awesome. That she had a mindset to reach out that far in the future and say what she could possibly do.
Well, if you think about it too, right? So again, because you are really highlighting a super important point, which is how you stand out, right? Well, I encourage all students out there and all families out there, whatever the scholarship is that you're applying to, and whether it is even, frankly, whether it's even a private, outside scholarship, from companies, organizations, individuals, foundations, or even those college-specific scholarships, right? You wanna understand. You wanna kind of flip flip the switch to think about. Think in a moment about if you were that person in that scholarship committee deciding on who was going to get the money. At the end of the day, if you have communicated that you're going to impact, your plan is to impact more than just you. Like this money will impact more than just your life. It's like the pebble in the ocean, right? It has a major ripple effect, right? So if I'll speak from myself. I'm on a scholarship committee, and I've been giving away scholarships for years. And I'll tell you, anyone who has been on scholarship committees, the majority of us spend, tons of hours. We volunteer tons of hours of our life raising money for these scholarships. So if we hear from a potential candidate that this time and energy that we've spent raising this money, it's going to impact more than just one life, you definitely already have our attention.
Mhm. Exactly. You have to get attention of whoever's reading it. Mom and Dad will say it's wonderful. Ask your teachers, ask your principal, ask someone that's in education to read your scholarship letters that you're sending out, because they'll give you an honest feedback and tell you how to tweak it just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Not only would you ask them to read your application letter, but also of course just for a last minute check on grammar and spelling is always a really good idea, because nothing will put you to the bottom of the pile faster than if you misspell the name of the foundation or the company or something like that.
Exactly. It was just, you have to have all your I's dotted, T's crossed, grammar, punctuation, spelling. That's all the major stuff. Then you get into what you're actually writing about. Your English teachers are wonderful at doing this. They will read anything and point out how to make it better. I have to give English teachers credit for this.
I know, and I give a major shout out to all teachers out there. They're doing a great job, and we're so grateful that they can be part of the team for any student to help them with those applications. But ML, every scholarship does not require an essay. Some are creative, some are creativity exercises. A lot of scholarship applications, now so many more nowadays are becoming video applications, and especially, scholarships that are from companies and organizations. Private companies are really taking advantage and using social media, so there might be posts that, to post on social media. Really, really exciting different opportunities. It's not just the application and an essay like we were used to seeing many years ago.
Right. Like I said, you now have scholarships how to design a pair of socks for all.
Yeah.
Who knows how many more creative things that are all out there right now.
Exactly. I mean, there's really there's scholarships. There's this big misconception that the monies are only for the student who has the top GPA or is the top athlete or the family that has the deepest financial need. And nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, of course, there's scholarships for those students and those families, and I definitely anticipate that there will always be scholarships for those students and those families. But there's now scholarships also for students who where simply the criteria is, are you a student on track to graduate, right? And that means that there's scholarships for everybody. There's scholarships if you have curly hair, left-handed, if you're short, if you're tall, if you wear glasses. I mean, there's scholarships for everybody. And more creative and interesting scholarships are popping up all the time because, companies and private sources, they're recognizing that it serves them as a company to create scholarships. It's such an amazing way for them to, gain really fantastic media, right? By taking a chunk of money and choosing to designate that for students either locally, regionally, or nationally. And so it's exciting that there's more scholarships being created all the time.
Now I'm going to switch over to marketing things because you just switched over for businesses. My business out there that are listening to the podcast, if you're doing if you're doing scholarships for students for college, it's a great tax incentive. This is why so many Disney does this. Okay, Disney has a scholarship out there, or they used to. They do this because there's a tax incentive for the business.
There are different tax incentives. In that, though, it is individual for. I would always recommend for any entrepreneur, any company, to obviously talk with their accounting and their legal about that. But what a lot of companies do, ML, is they actually will create a branch of their company, which as a foundation. right?
Mm-hmm.
So as a foundation, there's going to be massive tax actually incentives for that. But even for a for-profit company, all right, I am a huge advocate, by the way, for scholarship creation. I believe every small business should do it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's in a nutshell why and how it would work. If a small business, let's say the local pizzeria, they already have a small amount of money that they have designated right annually to do outreach for and advertising for their company, during the course of the year, right? Well, what if they were to take just $1,000 out of that budget for their annual advertising and outreach budget? And what if they were to create two $500 scholarships, maybe one for a high school student and one for a current college student, right? And it's their money. They get to decide what those scholarships are going to look like, and maybe they decide that they're going to that the scholarship is what is the most outrageous pizza combination that you think you could design, right? I mean, they get to decide. But here's what's exciting, ML. When they have decided to put this together, they will then announce it to their local media, their TV, radio, and newspapers. And media loves to cover scholarships. And so there would already be a huge media blast that would happen when the announcement is made for the scholarship. Now, the local pizzeria, they would have the application at their website, and they then reach out to the high schools, either in their town, in their state. It depends on how far that they want to take it. But they reach out to their high schools. They would reach out to the colleges. And it's the high schools and the colleges who then become the outreach extension for that small business, right? And now they're letting all of those students know, like back to what you mentioned when you were remembering your high school years, you received a packet of scholarship information, right? So what if then the schools are now going to be driving the traffic, which is the students and their families, to that pizzeria's website to download the application. That becomes a potential future consumer, right, and customer for that small business. But now, all right, so now it's a massive win-win. Now, when the pizzeria also awards the scholarship and gives away that $500 check to that student in high school and that $500 check to a student in college, now they have another whole round of media that they're able, with the announcement, because everybody wants to post the picture of the scholarship recipient. So that $1,000 that local company had originally decided to use for advertising and outreach actually gives them as a return sometimes 5 to 10 times that yield.
Mm-hmm. You get so much more media coverage, and it's all the positive stuff, and then you're also highlighting the students that are receiving the money, so they get local coverage. Yay! Susie.
Absolutely. I mean, it is such a massive win-win for everybody involved, and it's really exciting. I encourage anybody out there who is an entrepreneur to consider doing it. It's really amazing. And if you do keep scholarships, frankly, under that, in that $500 range, you could give away several scholarships. But if you keep it, in that $500 range, of course, there's nothing in addition that you would need to do, setting up for taxes, right? Even as a for-profit company, since you're giving away monies that are under $600.
Exactly. There's so many different things that you can do. Sorry about that. With scholarships, to create them, to get them out, to have more people involved, that it actually boggles your mind.
It does boggle the mind, but there's opportunities out there. Just it's we really can design our lives. We really can design our lives, and I'm doing this work because I want to help students to remove financial obstacles. I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I wish I had known then what I have come to know through the research and through, working with schools for so many years. I was one of those students who I did apply. I had searched for scholarships. I found some. I won some, and I was able to, use those in addition to scholarships I received from my college that I went to undergrad to. But, there was still a gap. There was still a student loan gap. And my family and we had to sit down and sign my name to some student loans. I wish I had known then what I have come to learn. And, really, there are you will find so many more opportunities if you start taking action for yourself. If you get out of I call it the waiting game, and stop waiting for your guidance counselor, the teachers, the older brother and sister to come to you and say, oh, I know what you want to do with your life. Check out this scholarship. If you just get in the game already, you will find so many more opportunities. And it's by getting in this process and looking ahead to see what the scholarships, are happening down the road, that you can start to qualify yourself. Right?
Exactly.
If we do a little bit of research in advance, you'll be qualified for the monies that are being offered.
Well, we're almost out of time. So where can the students, family members, and everything find you?
Sure. And ML, I really encourage anybody who's listening right now, definitely reach out because we want to hear from you. We want to, we're happy to answer, your questions, but even more so, I want to know what scholarships you win. I want to know how much money you win. I want to know your story because it's those stories that when I share them with students in my audiences and parents in my audiences, it inspires them to take their scholarship search to another level as well. So here's how people would reach out. So first off, tons and tons of free resources that you can download at my website, which is connections101.com. But lots of other ways to connect with me, of course, on social media. And on Facebook and Instagram, reach out to me at Scholarship Strategies or pop me a tweet at Scholarship Jean.
Exactly. I appreciate you being on the show today. It was a lot of fun and a lot of information.
ML, it's been my honor and pleasure. I want to wish you and your daughter best of luck on your scholarship money mission, and keep me posted. Keep me posted because let's have her continue to add to that pile of scholarships, and tell her that Jean said to go get the money.
I will do so. Thank you so much, and listeners, look her up because I'm sure that you all have a teen somewhere in your life that needs this information. And I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you. Thank you. And seriously, good luck with your daughter.
She has the Autism Scholarship. She has the National Honor Society, and we're waiting to hear back for the Native American Scholarship.
Okay. So just keep stacking on those.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Always.
Yeah.
and
ML, I had a great time. I'd love to do this again in the future.
Sounds great.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.